Zambia Blog Talk Radio.
Ready to take your nursing career to the next level? At Global Nurse Pathways, we're here to make your dream of working in the U.S. healthcare system a reality. From expert NCLEX exam preparations to personalized consulting and relocation support. Led by the incredible Dr. Alice Nalondo, who holds a Doctor of Nursing practice and is certified as a family nurse practitioner and a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. Our team delivers top-notch training to help you answer the NCLEX exam. Once you pass your NCLEX exam, we will connect you with the US-based recruiting agencies, setting you on the path to an amazing career in healthcare. Ready to get started? We're just a call or a message away. Call or WhatsApp us now at +1 346 328 1110 for the US or +260 961 875 081 for Zambia or email info@embbehavioral.com. Let's make your dreams come true together. Global Nurse Pathways, transforming careers, changing lives.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to ZBTR TV, aka Pastor Nathan's show. I am your co-host, Dr. Grace Mukupa, all the way from the Washington, D.C. area. But I'm just a co-host. The main host is coming. He has been interviewing a lot of people for almost 17 years, but nobody ever or dare ask him questions on the screen. I want him to explain our panelists today and our topic. I also want to know what inspired him to continue this show. I think it's not 3 years. I think it's almost 17 years. The number of guests who really has put that inspiration in him. I want to call my host, none and only, Pastor Nathan, to explain what's happening today. Pastor Nathan, are you here?
I'm here. How are you?
Thank you for including me. You know how to take the show for just a second.
I like that.
Mic.
I like that.
Go ahead.
I think I should retire and just hand over to you. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Thank you for inviting us. I'm more excited about the panelists, so let us know what's coming.
Yeah, so thanks for that introduction. It takes a lot of tenacity and persistence to do this for 17. I don't even think about that. I've been doing it for 17 years. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah,
17
yeah.
years.
Yeah. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of support, behind the scenes people. And what keeps me doing this or keeps the team doing this? It's a simple answer, Dr. Grace. I thought about it actually. It's just one simple answer: love for country. The love for my country. Mm-hmm. We need to engage, and just even if we are away from home, what goes on there still affects us. All right. So anyway, we have an exciting show today, like Dr. Grace has said, and thank you for agreeing to do this. I know you are a very busy person, and like they say, only Pastor Nathan can make certain people come out of their busy schedule and do it.
But Pastor Nathan, before you go introduce our guests, just a little bit, 17 years, approximately how many guests? Because I have seen people from top, bottom, ground roots, ground up people from the top, from the corners. How many people have you interviewed in the past 17? Just approximate. You know, I'm a data analyst. I'm gonna love some data.
I know. You want the math, you want the math, you want the numbers. So
Yes.
this show airs every week, every Saturday. It's a weekly broadcast. There are certain circumstances or situations when I've done special features. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, we are going into elections in Zambia, right? So when we start getting into elections, we begin to do special features, like we add another show like on a Wednesday. And just before the elections, I do like an every day, the whole week, just do one show, invite a special guest. So to give you a number will be something like this. There are 52 weeks in a year, right? 52
Correct.
weeks in a year. So that's 52 guests. Let's just take an average number. So let's do 52 weeks in a year. That's 52 guests in a year multiplied by 17. That's, I believe, I hope my equation is correct there. The scientists in the background will help us here. So 52 times 17, that will give you the number of guests on average that we have done on this show. That's what it is.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. We want to hear about what's coming up. I can see the title. I'm already excited. Someone who understands and does research on global gender studies. Can you share with our audiences, and can we bring our speakers? Because they've already seen me. I introduced you. I took over. So Pastor Nathan, go ahead.
That's the purpose of a co-host, is to take over. All right. This is exciting. And a disclaimer here, this show was put together by Dr. Grace, okay? I'm just facilitating and coming along as a hammer bearer or chola boy, all right? This is what ZBTR Dr. Grace has been over the years. And I've said it many times. A lot of things that happen here, people call me and they say, hey, can you do this? I can introduce you to this person and things like that. And everybody watching this show today, this is what happened here today. She put the information together, introduced me to the guests that we're about to have, raising awareness on child marriages in the context of Zambia. These are some of the things that I'm passionate about, because we can be so engrossed in the political spectrum and forget about there are certain things that are going on in the nation which people are not paying attention to. And child marriage is one of them. Dr. Cleopatra Kaunda is a medical doctor who has passionately transitioned to serve in the field of mental health, advocating for well-being in the face of global challenges. With extensive experience in mental health, she focuses on the complex relationship between emerging issues such as climate change, psychological well-being, examining how factors like load shedding and drought affect mental health. Dr. Kaunda, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm super.
You're welcome. I was just saying to myself, oh, wow, so load shedding has got a lot of mental health effects, right?
Actually, yes.
I hope we don't have a nation of people with, I'll get in trouble for saying this. Let me leave it alone.
But
we also have Dr. Kachikoti Banda, who is also joining us. He's an environmental engineering and public health expert. Dr. Banda is also managing partner at AfriCell Zambia. He's a lecturer and he does a lot of other things. He's a senior lecturer at Lusaka Apex Medical Center. He's involved in Lusaka Integrated Solid Waste Management. He does a lot of things. Dr. Banda, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
Thanks.
looking forward to this conversation. So, Dr. Grace, this is your show, like I said. I'm just tagging out.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, due to time difference, I just want to thank my sisters and brother, Kachikoti, Dr. Banda. You made time Zambian time. So let's thank you for being here, for your voices, and for amplifying what this show is all about, educating each other so we can be a better nation. So
That's
I
right.
want to understand our topic today, viewers, as you can see, raising awareness on child marriages. So I want to get to the root cause. So I'll ask each one of you just different questions. So maybe one of you can highlight, I'll say Dr. Kaunda, maybe highlight the root cause of child marriages. And I'll come to you, Dr. Kachikoti, maybe for you to put this thing, the scoop, the current scoop and prevalence of child marriages in Zambia. So we need, in order to understand, let's get to the root cause. What causes and what's going on? So Dr. Kaunda, you have the mic and we'll pass it on to Dr. Kachikoti. Go ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we're excited.
Okay. Firstly, I would like to thank Pastor Nathan for coming up with such an interesting topic. And these are stories that you don't find on a daily basis. We talk about other things, and then we leave out the ones that actually affect Africa, especially Zambia. To begin with, there are a number of reasons why child marriages are acceptable. I would start from there. Some of the reasons are that the first one, I might say, is poverty. So most of the time, coming from families where they are unable to, to find enough food for the family and just enough money to do certain things that they are supposed to, you find that they marry off a child in hopes that the man that girl is going to get married to provide for the entire family, and that will lessen on the girl's family. So that's one of the reasons. And other reasons are maybe parents are unable to take that child to school, and then they hope that partner will be able to take that child to school. And other times you find, of course, in every family, there are different types of children. There are the special ones where they say, okay, this child is very difficult to handle. And as a family, they feel because they can't handle that child, it's better for that child to, to allow that child go to another person, that's the husband, to take care of that child. And in other cases, even just being a stepchild, already we've heard a lot of stories where stepchildren are just laid off into early marriages so that the other family doesn't feel burdened to take care of that child. So these are some reasons that leads to child marriages. And of course, there are other reasons. Yes, I'll end here for now.
Thanks, doctor. I know you can keep going on because your statistics is larger. We'll have another, I'm sure we're gonna have another show in the future. We have to convince Pastor Nathan, maybe bribe him a little bit with a lobola or something. So let's move to Dr. Kachikoti. So what we want to know is what is the current scoop? Just give us an overarching, prevalence of child marriages in Zambia.
Yeah, thank you so much, Grace. Let me begin by paying my respect to the Zambian people for giving me an opportunity to be a Zambian. I'm a patriot and I'm a Afrocentric scholar that wants to see the best of my country. And I'll begin by highlighting the proportion. We are 60% of Zambian population in the youth, and you are talking 1.7 million child brides in this country. And on top of that, you're talking about 400,000 girls were married below the age of 15. And on top of that, when you look at a comparative analysis with the boys, you're talking about 29% of the young women between 20 and 24 were married before the age of 18. And you're talking about 3% of the boys also comparatively married before getting married before the age of 18. But when you look at sub-Saharan Africa, we are still high. In terms of Africa, the rate is still very, very low compared to East and Western Africa. Of course, alluding to other factors that my senior learned colleague has mentioned in terms of factors that are predisposing to getting these girls into marriages, poverty, climate change, all things. But when you look at statistics, we need to do something about the country,
Mm.
about these young girls being taken into marriage, but also on the global scale. It's very, very important to note that we are making a little bit of strides, but we need to do more. And I'm going to maybe just highlight a little bit of numbers. If you look at the decade, spectrum of a decade in 1993 to 2023, we don't have data yet for 2024 and 2025, but you're talking about 46% of the population of women aged between 20 and 24 were married before the age of 18. And also, those who married before the age of 15, you're talking about 15% of the girls married around that particular time. Fast forward to 2018, 2020, 2018, where we have statistics. We're talking about a comparative analysis of 29% of those who married before the age of 18 and 5% of those who married before the age of 15. So what these statistics are saying is that coupled with legislation and policy and the efforts that the government has made, we are making strides as a country, but we need to do more. And when you look at the demographic health survey that was conducted by the Ministry of Health, if we continue doing what we are doing, we should be able to reach about 22%. But if our project, our efforts doubles, we should be able to couple it down to 16% in terms of reducing the population of child marriages. Let me also reiterate and mention that we are a very young population, and just to highlight that 60% of the Zambian population is in poverty. So you can understand why we have increasing statistics, why it's fashionable and economically viable to take these girls into marriage. So that's a little bit of a decade scope and where we are.
Kachikoti, I see some of our viewers are saying your microphone is a little bit far, so either you can speak up or put it. No, you're looking good. You're close to the mic and stuff, but put it closer, or either you can speak up. Some of our guests are saying they want to hear what you're saying, but they cannot hear too clearly. They have to put their ear, and that's the. So I told them your mic has COVID. So that'll be our excuse. So before I pass it to our main host, the owner of TV and his team, we're talking about child marriage. We're only talking about girls, but also the root cause is about boys. I don't see a lot of data or a lot of things written about men marrying at the younger age. Maybe I'll give each one of you 30 seconds. In your opinion, this is not data because this is just a side, like a commercial question, right? What do you think?
That's a good one, Doctor. That's a good one, Dr. Grace.
You like that one?
Yeah, about young men marrying at a younger age. When we do these things, it's always leaning towards the women or the girls. I'm interested to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll give them a minute.
Yeah.
As much as they want, they can tackle
as much as you want. The king has spoken. So Dr. Kachikoti will come to Dr. Kaunda.
Yeah. So like I said, we're talking about 1.7 million brides as of 2010. But after the statistics that I gave, about 29% of the young women between 20 and 24 having married before the age of 18. 5% of that before the age of 15. But when you do a comparative study, you're talking about only 3% of those married before the age of 18. Now, what is the cause? We are very, very sensitive or sentimental to culture, okay? And the woman is at the center of every observation, the mistake they made, as opposed to the boys.
Yes.
So there's little or no data about documenting the 3%, for example. Look at the 3% that I've talked about in terms of boys marrying before the age of 18. Nobody's documenting because you are seen as you've come of age, you're being responsible, and all those kind of things. And then you remember, later on, maybe I can talk about legislation between customary and statutory law. We used to have statutory.
Somebody's upsetting the government.
I did talk about load shedding and COVID, so let's blame me.
There he is.
Customary law that used to support
Okay.
Kachikoti. So, Dr. Kaunda, maybe you can lead into the same question. We are very interested to hear from a woman's perspective.
So I'm glad he talked about the statistics as well. I was going to head towards the same. Research has shown it's actually 2.2% of early marriages that are pertaining to a male child. And reason, according to the studies and understanding, usually we're looking at a safety place for women. I mean, like I mentioned, poverty is one of the reasons that lead, early marriages. And mostly, if you're talking about poverty, you're talking about you're trying to make these young girls get married to someone responsible, someone who can provide, someone who has something going on for themselves. And usually, we're looking at the older men, and this is very common in the rural areas. So you find this is not common in urban areas, I must mention. So usually you find it's in the rural areas, and there, the older men are the ones that actually marry the younger ones,
younger
or
girls.
the younger girls, yes, and that's because it depends on the province we're talking about. For example, if we're talking about the southern province, we're talking about a man that has a lot of cattle. If we're talking about the northern province, maybe this man has a lot of farms and all of that. And it doesn't even matter how many wives this man has. Families will keep pushing their young girls towards that person for, financial support mainly. Yes. So a young man or, someone aged 15, you look at him and you think, of course, what is he going to provide for my child?
Okay.
So really, there's nothing there. So, and that's the reason why the men are not really talked about. It's not that common. Of course, it happens, but it's not as common as in the girls when it comes to.
Do we know in which provinces this is more prevalent? Can you give them to us in like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Okay, so the most common one is Luapula province. I think it's about 50.
Let's digest that.
Okay, Luapula then.
Seconded by Northern province, then Muchinga province, then we talk about Copperbelt province and Western province as well. And lastly, I should think Central province. But the funny thing is with Western province, usually, and why they are on the bottom of the list, usually they don't allow. It's not common for children to get married. Usually, what we find there, with recession, all of that, is that we have a lot of teenage pregnancies as compared to.
Okay.
Yes, but of the list, of course, Luapula province, which is at 50%.
Yeah. Any specific reason why Luapula, Northern, Muchinga, those top 3? What are the leading factors? Is it a reflection? I hope I'm not preempting the answer. Is it a reflection of the poverty levels in those provinces?
Yes, poverty levels, you're right. And then secondly, also traditions. I'll give an example of Luapula province itself. They're looking at a girl being mature based on, age. As long as you start your menstruation at an early age, let's say if you start at 7, you'll be regarded as mature. You're able to handle a family, you're able to raise children and all of that. I'll give an example of, I think that's in Chisamba. There's what they call Nkololo. Yeah, it's a tradition. So
Nkolola.
Yes.
I don't know. I hope I'm not missing up the two, because in Tonga it's in Nkolola, right, Grace?
In Kolola, but in Kololo, yes. So she's right.
Yeah, in Kolola, right? So usually what happens is when a girl starts, seeing her menses or starts menstruating, they have to hang a cloth on a tree. that's a sign or an indication to the other members of the community or the village that, oh, we have a child who's ready to get married. It's not based on that child starting her menses. And so the older men will always know that, oh, that house, they have someone there that needs to get married. And then they'll come and ask for the hand in marriage, and that child will be taken. So it doesn't matter 7, 8, 9, 10, as long as they've attained puberty, they are ready for marriage. So things
that's dangerous. That's very distorted.
Yeah.
Before I give it back to Dr. Grace, Banda, you were just about to, in your answer before you dropped, you alluded to some legal.
Yeah.
My question is, what legal frameworks and enforcement mechanisms exist to combat this? Because I can see, when Grace and I were preparing for this, we had this conversation behind the scenes where there is a conflict between cultural, traditional practices or law and the constitutional laws of Zambia. So what legal frameworks are in place to combat this? Is it even being addressed?
Yeah, thank you very much. So, first of all, let me pay my respect to the Zambian government for making a lot of progress. You and I both know that Zambia has both customary and statutory law.
Yes.
And we used to have this conflict between customary and statutory law, because you have statutory law that defines the age of 18, and then a customary law just says as much as you reach poverty. I mean, no, not poverty, but puberty.
That's what Grace told me, and it blew my mind away.
Yeah. So Dr. Kaunda just mentioned about puberty. You hang your clothes there, but you see, we are a very traditional country, and we respect the chiefs. I think 2 days ago, is it 2 days ago? Yesterday, the president had a meeting with the chiefs to recognize the role that traditional leaders play. So, customary law and the statutory law, there was that particular disparity. But I'm happy to mention that the government of Zambia enacted the Children's Code Act of 2022, Amendment Act of 2023, which explicitly prohibits child marriages. And of course, you and I both know about this genital mutilation. Is one of those things that have been provided as explicitly prohibited, and also is punishable by Zambian law. So, in that act, what is peculiar to note is that we have established a standard definition of child marriage, explicitly providing for both customary law and statutory law. And what is also important to note is that in terms of enforcement, definitely we need to ensure that we raise awareness. I always advise that before we go for compliance, let's build the awareness so that cooperation is better than compliance, because in the absence of the eye of the law, people will cooperate with the law because they understand the implications of breaking that kind of law. But before we crack the whip, we need to also raise awareness in terms of the disadvantages of taking these children, these kids, these girls into marriages. So I'm happy to mention that there is a very, very strong legislation right now that has harmonized customary law and statutory law, and they provided for explicit provision for the definition of child marriage.
Before Grace comes in, when you say harmonize, what are you saying?
I'm talking about the actual definition of what child marriage is.
Okay.
Because the law had provided for the age limit, and the customary law had provided for as long as you reach puberty, like my learned colleague had mentioned. So
yes,
if you reach puberty at 12 years, then you're as good as a bride. So if you reach puberty at 13 years, you're as good as a bride. But we're saying now that we have agreed as a Zambian people that nobody should go into marriage unless you are 18 years and above. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, makes sense.
Thank you.
Dr. Grace.
I'm enjoying this. Oh my goodness. Zambia has so much knowledge and wealth. You guys are like a gem to the world. Everyone needs to hear this. But I want to, before I shift into mental health, I know Dr. Kachikoti mentioned about traditional leaders, and sis, you also mentioned about women and the elders. So, Pastor Nathan, if you let me, I want to ask Dr. Kachikoti before we switch to mental health, because I'm really interested in that mental health thing, especially in the aftermath of COVID. So, Kachikoti, what role do traditional leaders, you both touched on that, traditional leaders, chiefs, community elders play a role in perpetuating or preventing child marriages? Before you answer, actually, Dr. Kaunda did mention that the elders are the first one to know. And half of the time, some of these elders are the ones who want to marry a 15-year-old and 14-year-old. And I'm sick sometimes. I'm sick of it. So we need to, education plays a role. But let me find out from your data, you guys are experts on this one. What role do traditional leaders, community, and elders perpetuate? Oh, no, working to preventing these child marriages. So I'll give you the mic, Dr. Kachikoti, then we'll come to mental health after this. Pastor Nathan, do you have a question for mental health? We'll come to you to ask our lovely Dr.
No,
Kaunda.
let them
Is that
address
okay?
the question that you've raised. That's loaded.
Yes. So after we're done, we can move to that. So go ahead, Dr. Banda.
Yeah. So thank you very much. So I'll start with the role they play in perpetuating this vice in our communities, in our villages, and in our society as a Zambian people. So first of all, you see, traditional leaders are like the alpha and the omega in those particular chiefdoms. All right, with due respect, if they accept gifts from the guy who wants to marry a child, in that way, they will side with the guy. And when the chief endorses that, or the traditional leader, it becomes an instruction, and then that girl has to go into marriage. Now, it's very, very difficult for such information to leak out to the state, for that guy or that man who has married that child to get arrested. Let's flip the coin. Let's assume it's a boy. A boy is 17 and he gets a 13-year-old bride. The statistics are very, very dismal. 3% of the data that we have is ascribed to the boys marrying before the age of 18. And that doesn't mean that it's not happening, because it's being perpetuated by the father to the boy, the uncle, and the chief conniving and bringing the girl and the boys together. And the other thing that perpetuates that is poverty. You see, we are a very, very young country in terms of population, but also a very, very vibrant country because of 60% of the youth. And I still believe that we need to divert the attention of these kids, these youths, from marriage to productivity until they're able to know what they're getting themselves into. So traditional leaders, civic leaders in these communities, these villages where there's no TV and the like, and then they are scared of the chief because of the power that he wields, and they're going to be chased from the village if they don't comply, takes these girls into marital captivity, what I call as marital captivity.
Yeah, that's what it is, marital captivity.
It's marital captivity because you don't have a choice. And then, like my learned colleague said, you're going to drop off for school. You have to service this man. Maybe he's got another wife. He's got cattle. All those kind of things that are defined as richness in the village. Now, let me not just say the negativity, but I'm going to highlight the role that they will play. So there's what we call gatekeepers in these villages or communities. The people who, when you raise awareness, their word matters. And they want to pass a message to the village that I'm banning this in my kingdom or my chiefdom or my locality. I'm taking you back to sanitation. In my early days of my career, I lived and worked in the southern province. And let me pay my respect to Chief Macha, because there's what we used to champion as the open defecation free, meaning every household in the chiefdom must have a toilet. And what we did, we recognized the role of the chief, and we activated the chief. We used to call it trigger the chief. Let the chief know about the consequences of not having a toilet. And once he passes instruction, we will provide technical expertise and support for every household to have a toilet. In this case, the chiefs need to be activated, the traditional leaders, the headmen need to be activated to show the potential that these kids have, the children, the girls and the boys, what they can do to help this country move forward if they are not disturbed by marriage. Number one. Number two, that their word matters. Before the law, there must be morality. In the absence of the law, only morality is going to sustain society. So it's immoral to marry young kids because they don't understand the enormous task they're getting into in terms of running a home. So in a nutshell, the chiefs, the traditional leaders have a role to play to raise awareness. Not only awareness, remember we have a law now, they can also help in enforcing that law in their chiefdom and help the state. The state is the custodian of statutory law. Now we have harmonized the age of child marriages. And with that, we need to break down the law to the chiefs. Now, let me conclude by saying that one of the reasons why there's a lot of there's a high frequency of breaking the law is that our law in Zambia is crafted in English. All right? The Constitution itself is crafted in English. The Public Health Act, Marriage Act, everything is written in English. How many people will interpret English in this society? So I have always advocated that let's break down this law in the local languages that people understand. So they know, they can read the Bible in the local languages. Why is it that we can't interpret our constitution in Tumbuka, in Tonga, in Bemba, so that they know that marrying a child below the age of 18 is an option. Not only that, there is a lot of information they can dig out. If you get your phone right now, as I conclude, if you get your phone right now, you punch everything. Yeah, there's the local language and stuff like that, but how much detail is in that local language that can be interpreted to our people who have access to the phone? Even just mass SMSing. You know, you get your phone, you get an SMS to say child marriage is a crime. Everybody receives that in the villages and others.
I like that. That's good thing because everybody has got a cell phone.
Everybody's got a cell phone. And
everybody's got a cell phone.
We can work with state institutions, Zikta, Airtel, MTN, Zamtel, which is a state carrier of this particular mobile network.
No, we don't think like that. We just want to increase the number of constituencies. That's all we are concerned about. I know. Sorry, Grace, I went that way.
That takes me out of the terraces to go to the front line because Zambia is a great country, a big country, young population. We're only 20 million, and 60% of Zambians are living under poverty. But also, we have a young population that is very, very interested in technology, and we can transmit this information, break it down to the 10 languages initially that we can raise this message, you know. And I'm very, very particular about child marriages because we can distract, we can avoid these girls being distracted, and they can provide meaningful development to this country. We don't need male words in these offices. That's why we need the women to rise up to the challenge, be on the decision-making platform, and help us run this country together.
Quick one before we take a commercial break, and then Dr. Grace will welcome all of us back when we take the break. Dr. Kaunda, do we have instances where a brother to a young girl who's been married off and the chief gives a go-ahead, runs to the police station? What will happen in such a situation?
So I don't want to sound biased, but things like that happen. There are stories like that, but usually they are settled within families, and nothing is really done. Nothing gets done about that, and so just brushed under the carpet, and it's done with. But otherwise, we have instances where that happens, but really nothing happens. There's no solution to that. And just before we go on a break, I know we've talked about, you know, what the traditional leaders, role when it comes to early marriages are, but I would also talk about this Chief Chamuka. I'm not sure if you've heard of him, of the Lenje people. I think his village, currently as we speak, they're at 0% when it comes to this. Yes. Before that, it was, I would say, about 75%. And then he had to put these strict measures where if you are found marrying any person below the age of 18, it's a punishable offense. And he took it very serious to a point that now they're at 0%. And I think he's been recommended, by the government and even just other countries such as Canada. And they've actually sponsored him a lot. And I think recently, last week, he was giving out, I think, lunch to like 3,000 women just to empower them so that they can stand on their 2 feet and just be productive. So I think we have leaders that are actually helping when it comes to fighting early marriages. And I think they need to be
Dr. Grace, like you said, part 2 of this, we need to have the chief on the show here and talk to him.
We're ready.
Talk to the
Let's take a break, and then Dr. Grace will welcome all of us back as we come back.
Welcome to VibeForge AI Studios, where creativity meets innovation for artists, businesses, and ministries everywhere. We craft high-quality media fused with AI magic. Fast, affordable, and professional. From ad campaigns to event promos and music videos, our AI tools bring your vision to life. Whether you're an artist, entrepreneur, content creator, or ministry, VibeForge is built for you. Our work is driven by faith, innovation, excellence, and integrity, always. See our portfolio on YouTube at The Christian Blogger and imagine what we can create for you. Let's build something extraordinary together today. Call, WhatsApp, email, or visit our website.
Hey Zambia, are you ready to kickstart your Saturdays with insightful conversations, unmissable guests, and all the trending topics you need to know? Then you have to tune into the ZBTR TV show. It's an electrifying show every single Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. From current affairs to lifestyle, entertainment, and everything in between, we're your go-to source for vibrant discussions that matter to you. Mark your calendars. Every Saturday, 9 a.m. CST. Join the ZBTR TVS show live stream and be part of something amazing. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Most of our viewers are not subscribed, and we really want you to be part of our growing community. Also, give us a follow on our social media platforms to stay updated throughout the week.
Welcome back to ZBTR TV. Like I said earlier, by Pastor Nathan. I just want to remind everyone that today we are talking about raising awareness on child marriages. And we have our lovely guest speakers, Dr. Kachikoti Banda and our Dr. Cleopatra Kaunda. They are based in Zambia. Zambia has a wealth of knowledges. They have already shared some of the knowledges. And we have our main host, the one who invited me and gave me the microphone, Dr. Nathan, Pastor Nathan.
Your show today. Today is your show.
I spoke in existence.
I'm just following along. Let's switch the conversation to mental health. Okay. How does early marriage impact the physical development, mental health, maternal mortality, and overall well-being of young girls?
Okay. All right. So I'll start by talking about the brain. Okay. Okay. So when you look at scans that have been done of the brain, okay, so when you look at the picture of the brain, usually you see it with a lot of colors. It will have red, green, yellow, and a bit of blue. So what means, what it translates to is maturity of the brain. It has reached maturity, right? So you find that in ages 3, you see a lot of red, a lot of yellow, and just a little bit of blue. When it comes to someone who's around 6 years, 8 years, you see also a lot of green, yellow, red, and the blue is coming up. Okay. And then when it comes to like someone who's 18 years and 20 years, you find there's a lot of blue, especially we're talking about the frontal lobe, which is very important. The prefrontal lobe or the frontal cortex, very important, especially to us when we grow up like adults, because it plays a role in decision making and just when it comes to education, how you attend things and all of that. So now looking at a child or someone someone below 16 years, the frontal lobe is not fully developed. So if you look at that scan, you find the whole frontal lobe is not completely blue. Actually, our brain fully matures at the age of 21 to 25.
Wow.
So if we marry off someone who's 16, their frontal lobe is fully developed. That means they are able to make decisions, right? They are able to make, proper judgment of what's going on. They're still children. So already that's a problem. And so if now they end up getting married, that will really affect them. Any sort of stress, it will be like times 5. The stress that we feel as adults to someone who's it's times 5, times 6. That's how they'll be affected. And then also, aside, when I come to stress, there are so many reasons that causes stress, especially in early marriages. Of course, we've talked about poverty, where parents want to marry off their children, of course, thinking that they'll live a better life. But then marriage has its own struggles, and those are children. They are not ready for that kind of responsibility. As they get married, some of them get pregnant instantly, and they have to take care of another child. Already they're a child. Taking care of another child is another story. So they'll be, and because they are stressed out, their bodies are never relaxed. So whenever we're talking about stress, it's like looking at a person who's guarded. It's like every time your body's on high alert, you're always anxious about what's coming next. And over time, you find that this person just starts deteriorating. That's mentally, okay? So they are unable to now even do the things that they were supposed to do. So already it affects them in that way. And then other times, we're talking about poverty. They are unable to eat or have proper meals. That's for a fact, especially if we're talking about rural areas. You find that a family, they can't have breakfast, lunch, supper. That's impossible. You find they're only eating once. And then you're also taking care of a baby that needs, proper feeding as well. So all these things overall impacts their mental health. And aside from that, these are children who've been moved away from their families. And we know when it comes to Zambia, we're talking about, it's not only nuclear families, there are extended families, you have your stepmother, stepsisters and whatnot, and you live as one. And now when you move this child to the husband's place, it's now the two of them. So there's depression as well. Like, oh, now I'm by myself with my husband, my family isn't here, and already they're being affected. So depression comes in, anxiety comes in, because they're worried. They're constantly worried. What's there for me tomorrow? What am I going to do? And I think when coming to the same, I would like to talk about, pregnancy. Usually when they fall pregnant, not always, roses, like they get pregnant and the baby is fine and everything is fine. There are also complications because we're talking about a child who hasn't fully developed. Already when you deliver as a woman, your pelvic has to be mature, right? And these their pelvis is not mature enough. So as the baby is coming down during labor, you find the baby can't pass through the birth canal because it's narrow, in short. And you find that they're having birth obstructions where they have to, pull out the baby and all of those things. Already baby is in danger because they will have other neurological symptoms because of that pressure of having to pull out the baby. Already for the mother, I don't know if we all know about fistulas that happened as the baby is coming out. They push on the blood and whatnot. After birth, there's leakage of, urine, feces being mixed together. They just come out at any time. And this is also embarrassing for the mother. This is very, very common in rural areas. And I think over the years, we've had doctors being flown to places like Muchinga province just to help those mothers who are experiencing such, because it's embarrassing in as much as it's a medical condition. People get embarrassed because imagine moving around and you're smelling of urine, or moving around and you're smelling of poop, because you can't control yourself. So these are some the challenges that young mothers are facing and affecting their mental health at large. So it's
Do
not just
we have any figures or statistics about the mortality rate about these girls being sent into early marriage? What do we have statistics on mortality rate?
Yeah, there's high mortality rate, but when it comes to the actual percentage, I really have to look up. But it's, yeah, we have a high mortality rate when it comes to you know, girls under the ages of 16. And being sometimes they don't even know that they're in labor. They haven't been educated when you know that you're in labor. So this child is in labor and they're seated at home, you know, and there's no support, and they just end up dying. Other cases is, you know, PPH, hemorrhage, where they, and you find that the hospital, the clinic is so far away from where they are. So by the time you are taking that girl to the hospital, they usually die on the way. So those are some of the reasons that result in high mortality rates, which are very, very common in rural areas.
Wow. 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 See, it's upsetting, and it's almost like you want to throw something at somebody and say, how can you allow things like this to happen? So after having said this, before Dr. Grace comes in, I don't know, Dr. Banda, maybe you want to jump on here. What support services exist for these young mothers, these young women?
Okay.
Dr. Banda?
Dr. Kachikoti.
Yeah. So I think
The
government has made a lot of effort to it. Have victim support unit, and also we have these NGOs that are trying to take back these kids into school. There's a young lady who passed on in Kushi. I've forgotten her name. It should be Nyambe or something. She was getting these kids out of child marriages, and she was putting them in school. And it so happened, I don't know the story, but I think she did a commendable job. And I think the president even honored her because she was getting these kids from child marriages. And there's a lot of, you know, discomfort, like, okay, she's getting our brides and stuff like that. But there's a lot of empowerment that has come in, and there's what we call cash for work that the government has introduced to raise empowerment for the children. The underlying cause to this, there are two things that I wish to highlight to this August House. Number one is poverty. Number two is culture. All right, the tradition, the customary stuff, and stuff like that. So, getting into marriage is seen as an escape from poverty. So, if we raise the economic profile for families, and I must mention that the nuclear unit of every society and every nation is a family. So in that family, if the parent does not build capacity and confidence in the girl and work hard for her to get an education and only passes on to another man as a form of getting rid of that particular child or expenses, then there's a problem. The other thing that may be underlying in the third line is you know, we have coming from the HIV/AIDS pandemic era, then we have the COVID and you know, poverty. We have a lot of orphan children that are being kept by uncles, nieces, and other well wishers. So when they become age, these people are let out to marriage as a way of saying, "Look, I've done my part. Now you're on your own. You're gonna start your own house." But also society in this country, in Africa, if you don't get married, they'll think, "Oh, she's having illicit sex." You get my point? So they prefer you get into marriage because it's a taboo. People look down on the family that, oh, our girl is not married and stuff like that. So there's a marriage. It's not one size fits all. We need to attack this problem from a multifaceted approach, what I call as the cow horn formation. Like, we need to look at all factors, sector by sector, situation by situation, Sometimes these are orphans being kept by an uncle, a young uncle, by the way, who says, "Look, I've done my part. You've reached grade 9. You've reached puberty. Please go sort yourself out." Sometimes it's in the village where they say, "We're giving a bride. They're going to give us 5 heads of cattle." I like what my senior Leonard colleague mentioned about Rapula, Northern, and stuff like that. But if you look at trace back the customary traditions, other traditions, they are polygamous by nature. I'm a fan of the Islamic tradition, and in Islamic tradition, you can marry up to 4 wives or something like that. So when your first woman reaches 40, you can get another one, just like that. You get my point. So we need to deal with these social issues before bringing the law and all these kind of things. Case by case, statistics by statistics, but most importantly, there must be a general feeling in the country, both from the traditional leaders and the state and those who hold the seats of power, that we need to protect the girl child. The girl child should go into marriage at a time when she decides to do so. But also, this Lobola thing is one of the predisposing factors to say, if we can get 10 heads of cattle, 10 heads of cattle in Zambia now, you're talking about 10 times 10,000 kwacha. You're talking about 100,000 kwacha.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. Very tempting too.
You get my point. So we need to couple that and ensure, look, you are not selling someone. The moment pays that, they feel they own the girl, they're gonna beat her, they can do all sorts of things. But also, you are exposing these kids to HIV/AIDS, because remember I said, like, it's better. Society, our culture thinks that if you get married, then you're gonna be safe from HIV/AIDS and stuff like that. But you're talking about a guy who's willing to go get another girl, another child. So you are also perpetuating the HIV/AIDS pandemic, but also you're actually selling a girl as a commodity to the highest bidder. So we need to put our heads together and have a common ground. So look, the future of every country, the future of every society is embodied in a woman. If we mess up with the girls, we mess up with family, we mess up with society, and we mess up with the nation. So we need to protect the future of this country. Thank you, Chair.
Fantastic. Well said. Well said. As we wind down, thank you. Oh my goodness, a wealth of knowledge. We might need like three different shows on this. So I'll move to Dr. Kaunda. Work or support women. I think the Mumba Women Association, naturally, but with their work, their research, I just follow them as well. They have not just engaged in child marriages, there is incest. And earlier you alluded to mainly in rural areas, right? So my question is, how can parents and families support attitude towards early marriages? How can my aunties, my uncles, my village people, Chief Shagumbila, can support and kind of educate other people in the communities?
Okay, so firstly, I think I would like to go back to what Dr. Kachikoti said about them understanding who a child is, and basically just raising awareness among those people. So there are different ways we can do that, through education, through media. It would take some time. It's easier in the urban areas because we have people are talking about it, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all those other social media platforms. But when it comes to rural areas, it's a bit critical. And so I think that's where we have to pay more attention to, especially when it comes to raising awareness. We have to look at how are we going to do that. So it's something that we have to do as a nation, not one person, but as a nation. I think when we start there, then will be more impactful.
Dr. Kachikoti, Banda, you want to add on? I think he's frozen.
Can you hear us, Dr. Banda? like this for yeah. No, he's having Dr. Banda, are you able to hear us?
No,
Zesco Tayabomba. C7 Zesco Kwemuli.
He's
So we'll come
frozen.
back to you.
Yeah, we shall conclude.
Dr. Sisi
Yeah.
work on mental health, and while we wait for Dr. Kachikoti,
Mhm.
yeah, and as we close down, I just want you to we're talking about Zambia in the context of Zambia. Have you looked at other countries that are doing specific interventions that are working, and maybe Zambia can adopt? Before we close it out, we on a global scale, is there any country that's doing something that we can support or follow as a Zambian nation?
Yes. I'll speak of Uganda, and that's because we had a chat about early marriage, and they mentioned that they're doing a spectacular job, but it all comes down to the reforms that the government has made, and just punishments, strict rules that the country actually know that if you do this, it's punishable, and people take it serious. And they've set examples of men who've been punished when it comes to early marriages, and so others are learning from. Yes, I think that's one of the countries. Of course, there are other countries that are doing that, but I think Uganda is one because I got the first-hand information, so it's easy to attribute to that.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Okay.
We can conclude here, and probably before we go.
Okay, Banda, are you with us? Give me thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, you can hear.
They cut the power, and now I'm, the load shedding thing.
So we want.
I told you.
To close it out. I know you left us out.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so we're closing up. We're wrapping up, but since we asked Dr. Kaunda, we'll wrap it up. I was like, damn, English is so good on this. Oh, sis, cuz I use AI, or maybe 30 seconds. How can people elevate and use AI or other technologies to educate people about this topic?
Is that for me?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. I like AI, and I think first of all, I wish to reiterate my earlier comment that we are a young population, we love technology, and we want technology and network. And right now, as a country, we haven't really utilized AI to enhance human society in this country, other than using it for jokes and embarrassment and stuff like that. So, like I said, Mr. Nathan, that just jumped off the call with the UN Habitat, where we are looking at the use of AI to recognize where waste is being dumped. Now, coming to child marriages, brilliant. Coming to child marriages, first of all, data is very important. This country needs to level up in terms of documenting data. People do we have? How many are boys? How many are girls? Where are these people? Which area? And what is the age? What is the level of education? I wish to make mention and put on record that education remains the greatest gift ever to be given to anyone, be it by the state, his country, or the family. So, utilizing AI, we need first of all to broaden the coverage of internet in this country, communication, because you cannot use AI without internet and data. So we need to raise what you call computer literacy. But before that, we need to use just basic analog information sharing. There's what we call know your neighbor. There's a concept that we use in waste management, say know your neighbor, meaning you need to know where your neighbor is dumping the garbage. We can apply that same philosophy in every neighborhood, in every society, in every village in this country say, if you see something, what do? You say something, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
And then, most importantly, we
Say
need to.
something.
If you see something, I think there's an inscription in the trains in London or Europe that if you see something, dial this number. So we need a hotline first to raise awareness. And number one, number two, we need to grow up as a country to ring fence whistleblowing. Okay, we need to ring fence whistleblowing against child marriages. Number one. Number two, I talked about the gatekeepers, the people who have an influence. So we need to attack this from all angles. Who are the gatekeepers? Who are the people who, when they say something, everybody will follow? So we attack from the social part, economic part. We need to provide a seed funding. I'll tell you one thing. This always upsets me. Always upsets me. And I'm going to say it here. If we are serious about education, because all this is all about education. Sorry, power's gone, but I'm going to speak. I'm here.
It's all right. Go ahead.
So we need to take education to every village in this country. Number one. Number two, take electricity there. Sports activities. We can use art to distract these girls from getting into marriages. We can go for talent identification. Every girl who makes it big at grade 7, the state must take over to sponsor that girl to grade 9. You get my point? And at grade 9,
okay. He's got great things to say.
Every best student, the state must take over to grade 12.
That's great. That's really great. And
Pastor Nathan, maybe you can close us out. Yeah, we need to bring this panel back for the panelists. Our beautiful Dr. Cleopatra Kaunda, beautiful name too, Dr. Kachikoti, Banda, who have given their timeless energy to serve our country and give back to Zambia. And our main host, and I'll pass the mic to him. Thank you for inviting me to join you on this part of this. Pastor Nathan Kama, you are our host. This is your TV. You can close us out.
Thank you, Dr. Grace, for doing this with me. Dr. Kaunda, thank you so much for taking the time. You've shared with us very invaluable information that you've opened our minds. This is the conversation I was having with Dr. Grace before we go to the show to say, look, there are a lot of issues that our country needs to pay attention to, okay? It's not just politics, increasing the number of constituencies. Hey, who's standing in which? Hey, MP, Shani. We are so consumed with those things. Meanwhile, there's a child who has been given away into marriage at a young age. Thank you for taking the time. Please keep the fight going. My brother, Dr. Kachikoti, let's keep the fight going. Let's not give up. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Sure, I apologize for the breakage in.
No, don't apologize. It's not your problem. It's a sign that there's a lot of work to be done in Zambia. That's just a sign.
Dealing with load shedding.
Yeah. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Okay, Dr. Kaunda, we'll see you soon.
All right, see you soon. Thank you so much for having me. It was very nice.
You're welcome. Well, this has been our show, and my co-host has done a good job. I have found somebody to take over when I retire. Thank you, Dr. Grace. You did a good job, and this has been a great conversation. Wasn't that amazing? Wasn't that an amazing conversation? This has been an amazing conversation. Great stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. The world. Yes. Yes.
All right, everybody. Join us next week at the same time. It's been a double header today. We have had 2 shows. I haven't done this in a long time, and it's been good. All right. Everybody, see you next week.
Hey Zambia, are you ready to kickstart your Saturdays with insightful conversations, unmissable guests, and all the trending topics you need to know? Then you have to tune into the ZBTR TV show. It's an electrifying show every single Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. From current affairs to lifestyle, entertainment, and everything in between, we're your go-to source for vibrant discussions that matter to you. Mark your calendars. Every Saturday, 9 a.m. CST, join the ZBTR TV S-Show live stream and be part of something amazing. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Most of our viewers are not subscribed, and we really want you to be part of our growing community. Also, give us a follow on our social media platforms to stay updated throughout the week.
Zambia Blog Talk Radio.